Well, I think we all have to deal with the system on one level, you know what I mean? We can't completely detach because it's just simply impossible. This is the paradigm, so you have to do what you can. I mean, for example, as a poetic statement and as a very real feeling, I put all my films out for free download, for free view, and I only charge $5 for a DVD, which is 75% less than the commercial rate. I spend a ridiculous amount of money on this film, by the way, but I do that because I want people to feel the gesture of trust. Say, well, you know, I can get this thing for free. I can burn it to my own DVD player right now. Maybe this director isn't just in it for money. You know, you have to get the value system to permeate. So altruism, showing your friends, and that if you're altruistic to people, they will have a propensity to be altruistic to other people. If you show greed and apprehension and abuse towards people, they will simply show greed, apprehension, and abuse and exploitation to everyone else. It's a systemic attribute, and this system, of course, breeds the latter naturally. So what I would recommend is, as a general feel, when I engage things, is to always try to remember that you're shaping behavior all the time. So we all fall, I'm a victim of culture in the sense I can get angry, I get a lot of shit, as you might imagine, from the stuff I talk about, and occasionally I snap, and I'll just tell somebody to go fuck themselves, you know, I can't handle it, you know, it's just, but I'm not proud of it. I regret it immediately, because I know it doesn't help anything. Aggressive behavior doesn't help anything, all it does is keep fueling it, and the anger. So you have to just cut it off at the pass. So I'm sorry for the long-winded response, but the best thing I can say is, you've got to kind of approach it from a value system standpoint. Don't give in to the greed attribute. Try to involve yourself in an occupation that actually has a relevance if you can. You know what I mean? Like, try to work for something that actually promotes technology or something that promotes new agricultural forms. Don't go work for an advertising agency like I've suffered through for many years, you know? Try your best to do what you can to maintain a decent standard of living, and don't deprive yourself. I meet people that say, oh, I saw your film and now I live on a farm out in the middle of nowhere. And well, that's fine, but that's not a solution. That doesn't do anything. That's not mean that you can't just hide. You can't hide from this system, okay? That's the thing, you can't hide. So, I hope that helps. I can go on a great tangent on things like that, but just try not to participate in the nonsense. If you meet somebody, for example, that's thinking about joining the military so they can get, you know, money for college, sit them aside and say, listen, I'll pay you something if you help me out or something. You know what I mean? Do something to show them that the paths of the establishment, the normality the normality of the system, which is really distortion, isn't something to adhere to, and that we really have to start decoupling from all of the attributes that define the system in the best way we can, while of course not just being completely renegade and, you know, moving out in the middle of nowhere and removing all your money, and that's just not going to solve anything. So again, I'm sorry for the long-winded and kind of convoluted answer, but it's a difficult question, so I hope that helps them. Change values. Do what you can to change your friends' values, your family's values, everyone's values around you, into not wanting money. Someone says to you, oh, I need to make a lot of money. You say, why? And you ask them why. Why do you want a lot of money? Like, well, that's what everyone else wants, a lot of money. Like, well, everyone else is fucking stupid, that's you. So, sorry. Anyway.
About that, yeah, you don't need to apologize. I was actually aiming for the long response.
I could go a lot longer with that, but thank you so much.
And you have the final word.
I'm not sure if you want to do that,
Final
Peter.
question.
I'm not sure if I'm up for that kind of pressure, but Peter, I'm long, and I want to thank you very much, Peter. I've been following you for a while, but I'm not sure if my question is a surprise, sneak up behind you and kick you in the nuts on your night. And I don't want it to be that.
Oh,
but
please do.
You're a big man, and I think of you as a brother. And sometimes one of my sayings is, in order to be our brother's keepers, we have to sneak up behind them and kick them in the ass.
Well, if we all agreed, there would be no such thing as progress.
So now, here we go. So that you can come back and sneak up on me one day and kick me in the balls, I'm the guy that's on your Facebook that owns the boat named Zeitgeist.
I'm sorry, I don't really pay that much attention.
Well, if you need to kick me in the balls, now you know.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. Are all the kids asleep now? All the kids gone? I am so thankful for your humor in this. I'm so glad that you gave yourself a heart attack in this. That was the funniest moment in this thing for, I think, a lot of people. I think it got the best reaction. You say in here that marketing is scientifically proven to be effective, right? That it's...
Well, I think well, I'm not sure that language orients it correctly. Human beings are definitely affected by the operant condition of their environment in many different ways. It's socially reinforced, so yeah, that would be a true statement, sure.
Okay, so what I'm getting at is this, you let me down a little bit tonight.
Okay.
Okay? Because this film was made for me. Okay?
Okay.
And I want to see a film that's made for, you asked the question, what are we, fucking stupid?
Right.
And my answer to that is, if you have to ask, you have no fucking clue.
Sure, sure.
Okay? People are really fucking stupid, Peter. Are you going to make a film, are you up for making a film for the masses instead of the choir?
Well,
That is
I
my
really
question.
think that the film series, it obviously caters to a particular type of individual that has probably a more open mind than the average individual who's been conditioned to be stupid, by the way. Let's always remember,
Right.
no one's just inherently stupid. It takes a long time for people to become as stupid as you see around you today. You know, I really, if you really sit back with that film, this film, I think I go out of my way, in fact, almost to an extremity, almost to a point of boredom, and I think at some points, of making everything as absolutely clear-cut as possible.
Sure.
Now, you know, the whole section on Project Earth, I just lay it out, and I really was on the fence about it because it's not as driven, it's not the controversial kind of feel of the Zeitgeist, and I just lay it out. It has to be done. So I really think that anyone that is at least semi-open mind will get it. They'll at least get it enough to understand the concept. They might not agree with it, but I think this bridges, in my opinion, it bridges normal people to a certain effect.
Well, I'm just asking, where's the kid that watches Jersey Shore? Is going to check out. And so that's the kid that I want to market to. Are you up for making something that's going to appeal to the Jersey Shore instead of the...
Well,
Is that possible?
I can't, I'm not, you can't appeal to everyone. It's just, culturally speaking, there's far too much diversity out there. It's just the nature of things today. I did the best I thought I could. You know, speaking of materialism and insanity, at the very opening, you have they're hot, they're rich, they're spoiled. America's #1 show is back. If that doesn't define American media culture, this sickness of vanity, and someone who watches Jersey Shore might get that. They might say, well, that sounds kind of familiar. I don't know how else to answer your question. I do my best.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
My question is, do you see your movement and the timing of your movement and the bringing of the knowledge connected to, as a lineage, connecting us to, you know what I'm saying, our ancient sort of origins?
You mean like a 2012 type thing?
Yeah, I'm saying like where a lot of people get this whole, oh, it's the end of the world type of thing, but actually the procession and the black tombs and all that could be knowledge to open us up to the more cosmological time of where we are in consciousness. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
personally speaking, I've engaged a lot of people that talk about issues like that. I'm a pretty straightforward individual. If there is a reality of some type of cyclical change of a higher order that we simply aren't conscious of, but is moving around, and the prophetic attributes of history sort of play in, and 2012, you know, that's resource-based economy 2012, and suddenly the prophecy of the Mayans. You know, this stuff, it's poetic, it's interesting. I think it has an interesting drive psychologically. But no, I don't equate anything to those ideas because I can't measure it. I'm interested in what I can measure and what I can repeat and what I can learn. So while I don't put down any pseudo-metaphysical ideas, if you want to give it that notion, because I don't know everything. So I'm the kind of guy that stands and will listen to the guy. I'm the kind of guy that will stand and listen to the guy in the street that says the end is near. I have no bigotry, of intellectual bigotry towards anyone, whether any disposition. I find that the more esoteric sometimes, such as the figures in my first film. It's not that I believe everything those figures in the first film say or advocate. It's just that there's a quality there that forces critical thought. And I think you have to engage those of the extreme counterculture. Point being is that there's always something to learn. But definitively speaking, I don't think there's any kind of, preordained anything, other than the fact that learning is a process of evolution. And yes, we can predict some form of change.
You
It's
believe that
inevitable.
the ancient cultures, they knew possession though, correct? You
They knew
believe that
possession because
that's-
they could track it. It wasn't, yeah, they knew it. They could see it. They've been tracking it for generations. But I don't think the possession means anything. The stars in astrology, for example, they change all the time. I mean, after long periods of time, all that shit's gonna be different. There's no such thing as Aquarius. I mean,
But just
all
in-
that shit's gonna be changed in the number of thousands of years.
In terms of-
But if you really think about it, an eclipse, it's always in a state of unique position. It's just we have an emotional attachment to that effect. So I think we project into this stuff like crazy. But
Thank you.
sure, thank you. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for coming. I was supposed to make a final statement. I'm not going to be exhausted, but except thank you. So if you want to make a statement.
Well, no, we just wanted to say that we have just learned so much this evening. To wrap it up in one sentence, walking out this door, your last words to the audience that's here that was so joyful to be part of this premiere.
Well, I have to go back to my first film, which is, of course, probably go down in history as the most attacked film in the history of all filmmaking. And the very final, I get lots of aggressive, weird rhetoric in media right now. What's the last word in that film? Anyone remember?
Love.
Love. It's a choice between fear and love. You can either be abrasive on the system and be afraid of losing your value, or whatever the hell you have, your property, your material wealth. You can move against other people for your own self-interest, or you can just stop it and realize that the only way these type of sustainability will work within a species is if that species respects itself. So you can't divide a culture, you can't divide a people without a complete destruction. So it's really just a matter between fear and love, and I think if we can just overcome the fear of losing whatever the hell we think we're going to lose, we're all going to die. It's just an inevitability. So if you just shed those shackles of all that stuff that you hold on to, someone could pull out a gun right now and take me out, and I would be perfectly happy. It's Martin Luther King said, it's not how long you live, it's how well you live, and how honest you are with yourself. And if everyone out there, which deep down knows about these problems, they really do. Deep down, people know that something's dramatically wrong. And deep down, I think they really know the direction to move in an intuitive sense. If everyone actually acted upon what they thought was right, the world would change like that. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.